Hi there, Fabian. So, nice to see we've got another set from you. Great. You're working hard. You're doing really well. So let's see what you wrote here, okay? This topic is green energy. Here's what you wrote. In times of global warming, there should be a comma here, actually, right there. Conventional energy production is replaced by renewable energy in an increasing number of countries around the world. Reduction in expenses and the benefits for the environment are the driving forces, whereas critics point out that this development would put our energy security at risk. I think neither view is incorrect, but I also see the security risk rising, and I fear that the stability of our energy system might not cope with the rapidly going change from fossil to nuclear to green energy. Oh, from fossil and nuclear to green energy. Okay, for the most part I liked it, but there was this one section that I really didn't care for. It was right here. You said, I think neither view is incorrect. That's just not really an appropriate way of saying this. It's an academic essay, so remember that the overall tone should be a little more impersonal, a little more academic, a little more formal. So my suggestion is to change that a little bit, okay? A good way to change this would be while hang on. Critics point out that, okay, you could have said, while there is truth to both viewpoints, I also see the security risk rising and I fear, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So rather than having this double negative, because that's what that is here, neither view is incorrect, which just really kind of muddles the meaning. So make it a little different and just say, while neither viewpoint is incorrect, or while both viewpoints have some validity, and continue, okay? That's why I would do this. Let's see. The advantages of the, with the rapidly going change, this also felt a little strange to me, might not cope with the rapid change from fossil and nuclear, okay? Let's continue. The advantages of the mentioned shift towards green energy are twofold. Firstly, in comparison to renewable modern energy, searching, finding, digging, and extracting the resource out of the soil, transforming it into a usable state, produces immense costs. All right, get rid of this capital and get this capital, which do not occur in green energy. A table published by Greenpeace in 2016, you don't need a comma here, provided information on this issue and shows, because it's a table, it shows that costs for energy production have reduced, have fallen by about 40% since 1986, with the introduction of solar and wind energy and the replacement of fossil and nuclear plants. Okay, better way of saying that. Okay, secondly, the positive outcome. Why didn't you just put this all in one paragraph? I don't know why you split paragraphs. I wouldn't have done that. Remember that we typically suggest and support a 4-paragraph structure with an introduction, a conclusion, and then 2 body paragraphs. So my advice would be to combine these into one. Okay, so let's move on and look at this paragraph. Secondly, the positive outcome of the advent of green energy is measurable, and the reduction of carbon dioxide and fine dust particles is significant and almost proportionate to the decline of coal-based energy. Recent data by the Federal Authority for the Environment in Germany, I don't even know how to say that, so I'm not going to try, show a plummeting rate, plummeting rate, R-A-T-E perhaps, in fine dust from 1980 to 2015 by 60%. For the first, the fossil way had gradually been left on towards wind turbines and social panels, they claim. I don't understand that sentence, I'm afraid. I don't understand this whole thing here. Gradually left towards wind I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're trying to say, so you have to clarify that. So the positive effects of the introduction of these renewable energies are in favor. So the positive effects of the introduction of these renewable energies in favor of the deconstruction of conventional plants are clearly convincing. Okay. Could it have been a little clearer? Yeah, it could have been. The deconstruction of conventional plants. Again, it's just the kind of thing where you think to yourself, well, this could be understood much more easily with some different phrasing. So it's this kind of really fine line for IELTS test takers. So on the one hand, it's, okay, clarity of meaning is the most important, and I really support that. Yet at the other time you think, well, yes, but I have to show complex grammatical structures and so forth. So I understand where the confusion comes in, but I still think you could have made this a little clearer. Now, we don't start sentences with but. Yes, we do it all the time in spoken speech, but certainly not in written academic language. So this should be yet, or it should be however. So let's try it again. However, as everything has its downsides, lowercase, and this should be plural, the critics have their point to it. All right, that's awkward. I don't know what that means. They focus on the security issue. Okay, how about, and the critics have their reasons. So they focus on the security issue of these rapidly continuing changes. This is mainly because, get rid of that comma, coal and nuclear plants have one main advantage, which is the stability they provide by constantly supplying energy to the power grid. This is a fact, get rid of the comma, that solar as well as wind and water-based new energy systems cannot grant. Get rid of that fourth. Physicists in Germany repeatedly speak their warnings about the risks of a development that is going just too fast. They indicate that the grid stability is an imminent danger since the frequency should not fluctuate that much as it does more and more often. The average frequency in the 1980s used to be most stable at 50 hertz and rarely needed any correction from the controllers, up to 2 or 3 times a year, but in 2017 several events occurred each day so that those corrections were necessary. This is allegedly caused by the fluctuations in the amount of light and wind, so by more or less energy inflow to the grid. Alright, I'm a little confused, but okay. The great danger of the erratic frequency course could be a blackout that should be avoided under all circumstances. Okay, you didn't need a comma here, okay? All right, let's look at the conclusion, then we'll look at it a little more holistically. To conclude, the general inclination of the international community in the direction of renewable energies is most welcome in financial and ecological terms. I approve of, you need an of here, of this very much, but I sometimes fear that we might have to face a great blackout someday, which could result in a catastrophe since we all depend on the incessant supply of energy. Let us hope that new technical inventions will resolve this issue soon. All right, that was fine. Okay, so for me, the biggest problem with this essay was, again, the paragraphing. So these really belonged in one paragraph. I know it might not seem very important to you, but I assure you that it's part of your coherence and cohesion grade. You need to show that you can logically order your ideas. So put these in one paragraph. It looks like, on the whole, you are more in favor of green energies. This is what I understood from your conclusion. And so if that's the case, you probably should have put this paragraph, assuming you're going to make it one paragraph, second. So in other words, introduction, and then this paragraph about the downsides of this energy security issue. And then after that, you could have talked about what you feel in terms of green energy, that you do think it is positive. So, you want to support it, but, you want more technical advances to be done in the future. So that's how I would have organized this. It was really, for me, a coherence and cohesion thing. And then there were a couple of areas in your writing that you lost me. I wasn't able to follow your train of thought. I think the way you expressed some of your ideas was a little overly complicated, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that the clarity comes first, and then we worry about things like advanced structures. Because I'm not really even sure that some of these problems that arose were because of advanced structure, but they just were difficult to follow. All right, let's look at this map here. This looks rather long. I don't know why, but let's see what you did. I want to make sure that it took you under 20 minutes to do this. Okay? That's important. So let's see what you wrote. The two maps, lowercase m, show the state of an island before and after the construction of different buildings, paths, and streets, as well as various changes in the landscape. Okay, changes to, I would have written, but that's okay. Even, not even. Why will? No. I mean, we're not talking about something that is projected to be created. We were talking about something that has been already created. So, a new lake was created on the east side, but several trees had to be cut down in order to create space for the living areas in the east and in the south. That's awkward. We'll talk about it in a minute. In the central part of the island, there will be a shopping mall, a hotel, and a cafe. They will be linked by a vehicle track that also encircles the hotel. From the circling track, a footpath will lead through the newly constructed 6 homes large accommodation area in the west, ending on the beach. Next to the lake to be in the west, there will be a second living area with 8 houses, which will be positioned around a circling footpath. This area will also be connected with a vehicle track that will bring people to the cafe. From there, one might reach the hotel by foot or the mall by car. Overall, many houses for accommodation as well as larger buildings for business purposes will be erected where no constructions are seen at all on the first map. The two maps show the state of an island before and after the construction of different buildings, paths, and streets, as well as various changes to the landscape. What happened here? Oh, I think you just repeated this twice. I don't know why you did that. So it looks like this is identical. All right, I don't know what happened here. Okay. So how do I want to? Okay, here's the thing. This map, you didn't have one map. Essentially, you had 2 maps, and you didn't really talk about the first map at all. What you just talked about essentially was the second map, and so I'm not a huge fan of this, okay? I think it's really important to dedicate, even if it's just a tiny little sentence or 2, to the previous map, okay, this before figure. So something like, prior to construction, the island was uninhabited with no construction whatsoever. There was a beach on the west side of the island. There were some trees scattered up in the northwest, in the central north and northeast, as well as in the central southern portion of the island. Okay, there was nothing else there. Then you could say, following construction, A, B, C, D, E, F, G occurred. Okay, that for me is a better way to do it. So I thought that your organization needed a little more structure, a little more logic to it. What did I just press here? Sorry, hold on. Okay, I don't know what I did. All right, anyway. Also, don't forget that they have this lovely scale here. The scale is something that I think is really useful. I'm very happy that you talked about these, but I thought the way you organized your answer was a little scattered. Like you talked about this, and then you talked about these homes, and you talked about those homes, and you talked about the lake. I didn't really feel like there was some sort of progression that made any sense. So try to see if you can organize your ideas around something like this in an organized way. So in other words, you could talk about the island from the west side and then keep going east, or talk about like the north and then go south. So do something that at least provides some sort of logical connection between all of these facilities, okay? So go ahead and correct these, return them back to us corrected. I think, in fact, that this is your last set of essays. And while there were some good elements to this, I do feel like we should see more from you. You know, there were some little things with the task 2 in terms of some expression, but also in terms of paragraphing that I really wanted you at this point to have completely you know, like under your belt, and to be really familiar with how to do them. And then this also had some strange things happening with the progression of your ideas. So I'm going to recommend that you sign up for more essay corrections with us. See which package works for you best. Because while your writing is good, I still think that you need a little more support to get you to the score you need to get. Okay? So go ahead and consider that option, and hopefully we'll see some of your essays soon. I want to wish you good luck no matter what you do.